All right, guys, welcome back. Trammell Crow Series here. We're excited to have you. Join me. Grab a drink, relax, and get some good quality content and advice here. We love it. So we're going to dive right in right now. Make sure to stay tuned to the end. We got a pretty exciting piece of advice here to give you. And we're going to dive in with Paul Silverman. So just to back up a little bit, remember this was an email sent to all the partners at Trammell Crow, and they asked for their lessons that they would have learned or their advice on 4 different aspects of the business. And so this is Paul writing. In response to your March 6th memo, I have the following observations and comments. Strategy. This is cool because it looks like he wrote little paragraphs in his own word. Most of those were like little bullet points. So they put a lot of time into this. Strategy. After operating for 6 years as a Lone Ranger, the character of this organization changed dramatically without having a strategy. I did not recognize that I was making this transition until after I had already done so and started surfacing the problems that came with it. When the market peaked, rents that we had all projected would keep going up started to fall faster than I would admit because I was still trying to achieve the projected yields on a couple of projects. Because I did not admit that the market was moving against me, I didn't take the appropriate actions. I also acquired real estate for which I did not have a clear product identified. This basically made me a speculator on 2 different acquisitions. I bought them thinking that they were good locations, money was available, and that in the long run I could figure out what to do with them. In one particular situation, I consumed an acquisition against the best judgment of my senior partner, you. I kept climbing over the ever higher hurdles which were placed in front of me in order to do so. Again, this was an acquisition based on my gut reaction of knowing that the real estate was good and being too confident that I'd come up with a solution. This is great. This is really like powerful insight. You can feel the pain in the sense, or at least I can, on him believing in something and going against his partner and it not working out and just putting it in his own words. Personnel. After making numerous mistakes, I have come to realize that this is the single most important issue in our business. Making the transition from a Lone Ranger to a manager has been absolutely the most difficult transition in my life. By not wanting to face personnel issues and doing a poor job when I finally did, as well as being incredibly insensitive to the other people with whom I worked with, I managed to somehow commit every personal blunder known. These include not listening, not hiring the right people, not continually interviewing to know what was available within the marketplace, sticking with people way too long, improperly supervising, improperly motivating, not communicating, and failing to inspect the work. These are only a few of the highlights of the sins which I have committed in this area. Administrative and overhead. Being fairly frugal, I don't think we made too many mistakes in this particular area. The biggest error is in failing to properly budget and account for expenditures. We basically didn't know what or where or how we were spending our overhead dollars. At times, I think that some of the mistakes that I have made were failing to spend enough money in certain areas or at the proper time. I feel that a large part of our personnel problem has been due to having inferior quarters and in some cases not enough equipment to get the job done. I'm really enjoying this one, guys. Just a little bit different. It's just written a little different. Individual projects. There are 5 deals which were all done at the height of the boom, and I wish I could erase all of these off the board. The mistakes that I made on each of those are as follows. Project A. This project was predicated on an adjacent project working which never did. This project also deviated from our normal economies of scale by being a small project and deviated from our normal formula by not being anchored properly. All in all, it has been a rather unrewarding project. Project B. Particular problems with this project include way overbuilding the amount of spec space relative to the anchors, not having a second and third anchor in place from day one, thinking that good architecture and materials would allow us to claim a premium rental rate in the market. It won't. And finally, allowing the anchor tenant too much flexibility in the construction schedule and in the restrictive covenants. We didn't have the right people working there until recently, and we didn't bring our rates down to market fast enough. Project C. I way underestimated the difficulty in undertaking this project. We were not as thorough as we could have been in analyzing the existing leases in the project, and we failed to have a thorough plan designed and priced prior to committing to the project. We also had bad people working on this project originally. Project D. I committed an error of buying something because I thought I might need it, as opposed to having a definite need at the time of purchase. Project E. Problems on this project were buying this piece of real estate on bank debt when it should have been equity dollars, counting on people that failed me, not having an adequate plan, and buying too much. Overall, our project has gotten bigger, more complicated, and with smaller margin. We tried to do too many projects at one time without having adequate bench strength, hear it again, or manpower to cover the projects. The concept of putting one guy on a project from start to finish, not letting attention be diverted until it's finished, is the best discipline that we can have, and it is one that I stayed the furthest from. When we get our problems sorted out, that is the model I think that works best in the long run, in good and in bad markets. I hope this will be of some help to you. I really look forward to seeing how many of us have made the same mistakes, and I hope that you will forward a copy of the compilation to those of us who unfortunately had the opportunity to contribute. Dang, that's like, I don't know, that hits me. I don't know if you guys feel that. Love to hear your thoughts on that. There's some pain in there because there's some passion and some desires to grow and some lessons that were learned, hard lessons. Let's just learn them from him. Once again, that was Paul Silverman with Trammell Crow Companies. All right, we're going to dive into Paul Baker, and then we'll conclude this series and on to the next. But stick with us to the end, guys. Paul Baker. Strategy. In the initial stages of our activity, the city was a rapidly growing market. To get involved and be competitive with the other developers, we had to reduce yield expectations, increase the amount of land, building, and associated costs we were willing to pay to outbid other potential buyers and builders to create better quality projects. This increased our risks and made us more susceptible to downturns. As we stretched for some of these projects, market conditions declined, causing our pro formas to be substantially less favorable than we anticipated. The strategic implication to our business is that we need to be very selective in choosing our projects and adhere to our yield and profitability requirements. Interest expenses, loss to lease up, effective rents, and other costs can fluctuate outside of our control during the development process. Therefore, we must be very careful in our initial decisions before we enter into a development project. Most of everything that these guys are doing was development based. They're building new projects. That's a very scary position when the market turns. We became aware that others were encountering the same difficulties in the marketplace. Because of our capital transactions and the structuring of our deals, we were in a better relative position in a difficult market. As a consequence, we were able to enter into new transactions that were more advantageous to us to help defray some of the problems the marketplace had created. Some opportunities came to us because we were recognized as stronger than other competitors. Therefore, we were able to enter into new, less risky business or restructuring existing ventures. We use this to defray some of the costs or decline in other sectors of the market. Another strategy lesson was to focus on several deals at the same time. As the market changed over a period of time, if we focused on one or two possible transactions and they did not come to fruition, the next round of opportunity was at a lower level. Therefore, what was a less attractive option? Early on, because relatively very attractive as the time passed, one of the mistakes we made was to focus on the best deals. And, in effect, remove ourselves from the market for several months. In those deals did not close, and we entered into a new round of negotiations. It would be at a lower level. In retrospect, we should have broadened our base earlier and negotiated more deals, which would have enhanced the profitability of a deal closing, and even if it was at a lower value than we anticipated. The time-value relationship may be far more important than any single aspect of a sale or capital transaction. Everyone talks about real estate being about location, location, location. I went to Texas A&M to get my master's degree in real estate, and one of the first things they taught us was location, location, location. But timing, 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 just as important, right? All land is going to be valuable 100 years from now, more valuable than it is now, but maybe not in 1 year or 2 years or 3 years. So timing is just as important. Not getting an ego involved and just jumping into projects because you can do them or because you're the gorilla in the room. You got to be wise. Things can go down so fast. Personnel. In general, our personnel decisions did not relate to changes in the market as rapidly as they should have. Everyone was busy and concentrating on their responsibilities rather than looking at the profitability of the specific direction we were heading in. As a consequence, we had many requests to increase staff in areas which might have been people intensive but not profitable. We should have been focusing on changes in the marketplace and redeploying our personnel to react to changes within the market. Follow the market, guys. You can't trick the market. Administrative and overhead. Many of the overhead and administrative decisions are made on a longer-term basis and are not subject to immediate change. There are, however, places where cutbacks are possible. Our major mistake was to assume in our yearly budget and financial plans that last year's level of expenditure might be equaled or exceeded next year. This, in a sense, built in some discretionary spending, which may not have been necessary had it been more closely analyzed. Each line within our budget and financial plan should have been analyzed independently and verify whether the expenditure is prudent under a changed market condition. Yeah, it's similar to rents, right? You can't just expect the rents to just increase at the same rate. Same with expenses. Just because you spent $100,000 on your business last year doesn't mean you should spend a little bit more this year. Follow the market, be entrepreneurial, be able to adapt and to move quickly. Maybe you should spend half that amount, right? The market changes. Individual projects. The key to success in each individual project was the financial structure of that project. That's it right there, guys. That's the gold. The key to the success in each individual project was the financial structure. If you guys are getting this, right? They're talking about having recourse or non-recourse. You're going all cash, you're getting debt. The financing side of real estate is the most important aspect once you find the deal. And you can go leverage up, and you can have a great piece of real estate, you can have a great idea, you can have a great goal, and it can all just go belly up. I remember hearing about a guy in Corpus Christi who wanted Corpus Christi to be what it is now too early. He had a vision. I can't remember his name, I wish I did, but he had a vision and a dream of what Corpus Christi could be. He borrowed all this money, he was building these projects, and he just lost everything. There's a monument for him right downtown Corpus. And timing. He was just too early. He took on too much debt. If he would have gone all cash, maybe he would have been able to wait. But that is the lesson, the takeaway from here is that financing is extremely important. How you structure these deals, whether you're getting hard money, a community bank, all cash, investors, whatever it is, that is the most important part once you take the deal down. It is important to have joint venture partners. Equity, participating loans, or significant leasing or pre-leasing to buffer the projects from variations in the market. Based upon our previous experience in growth markets, we anticipated that performance of our projects would improve month by month and year by year. This assumption proved invalid, and in some cases, the highest value period for a project may have been very early on in the cycle when we were holding it, waiting for it to improve. As we held it, the cost increased and the values declined, thus reducing our profits significantly. We also found that it was very difficult to control cost in a softened market. Interest rates increased, free rents increased, leasing activity decreased, tenant improvement and other costs increased. We need to build in more flexibility in our budgets for these cost variations. Furthermore, we need to emphasize to all decision makers, construction managers, property managers, leasing agents, and partners, the high cost of passage of time to emphasize the importance of closing leases and other transactions quickly. Time kills all deals. It does. Remember that. In general, we found business to be more difficult and less fun. However, there still were many opportunities to structure sales, refinancings, or joint ventures. The challenge was to control our costs, make prudent business decisions in difficult environment, and to find new business or fee opportunities to offset some of the deterioration which occurred in some of our specific lines of business. Despite our down market, we have found that being more astute, more careful, and more knowledgeable about opportunities than our competitors, we can become market leaders in spite of the environment. I love the aspect where they're kind of just writing in their own words and less of bullet points. What I want to give away today, if you stuck with me, is a free copy of the Trammell Crow book. Whoever wants it, give us a comment. First one to comment. What you got to comment is entrepreneur with the TRE capitalized, and the book will be on its way to you. So thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you like, share, comment. We're going to continue to bring you more episodes here. This is an exclusive document from Trammell Crow Companies. Very, very valuable. A lot of gold here. Thank you guys. Have a great day.